So, my role here at PowerGistics is to help support school leaders before, during, and after their decision about PowerGistics. So, what we're going to go over today really is, an overview of our tower, a little bit of the background about how we became a company, and really just some options for schools. I know that right now, with as many new Chromebooks and iPads as are out there, some schools are beginning to look again at, well, what are we going to do with all those Chromebooks and iPads when we actually get back into school? So we're starting off with this screen here, and some of you may have noticed already, but one of our towers is actually in this classroom. So I like to point that out just because, it really does show what a small footprint it really is. So just a little bit of background. The concept of the PowerGistics Towers was it was created by an IT director locally here in Wisconsin, and he had just been fed up with the options available to him. He needed something small. He didn't want to have to mess with a whole bunch of cable management issues, and so he came to our company owner. Uh, our parent company is a metal manufacturer, so we can fabricate all kinds of custom metal fabrications. So, and the two of them, teamed up and created the PowerGistics Towers. That was about 5 or 6 years ago. So, what you'll see today is really a lot of the headaches that our towers solve. And you can think of it really because, the IT director was the one who had those headaches in mind to solve. So, and without further ado, let's go ahead and kind of zoom in here on some of the headaches. Some of them are pretty obvious. I have these conversations all the time. Of course, we've got the tangled cords mess. We've got the giant bulkiness. We've got laptops overheating. Now, most of the time they don't like catch on fire, but sometimes they do. So, cables getting frayed. And this image is supposed to sort of represent like that traffic jam around one cart in a classroom. So, if we're looking at why teachers hate the carts, the complaints often are the size, how big and bulky that is. With the cable management, those students don't always plug the devices back in properly. And of course, a dead device is going to impact the whole school day. So a solution for that would be to have teachers babysitting the cart and having that be part of their task list every day. I heard one teacher tell a story how she assigned extra credit to have a student go ahead every day and reorganize and make sure everything was plugged in. So yeah, it is a lot of management, time management on that side. And then of course, the complaint from teachers with that traffic jam, which can increase the risk for dropping and damaging devices. Sometimes those devices get left stacked on top of a cart, and it's up to the teacher to then organize it. So for all those reasons, the carts end up being a headache for teachers. For IT staff, there's like a whole new set of headaches. Without that dedicated secure cable management, IT staff do end up having to rewire carts a lot more frequently than they would like to. I've heard some IT directors say every couple of months they'll have to go through and rewire them. It's one of those things where when you get a cart set up, the first time it looks very pretty, but then as soon as you introduce entropy, students, at that stage, over time, those carts are going to become, just a bit unruly, let's say. So, also another complaint is that the locking compartment for power bricks may not always be well designed in carts. So cords can end up like mysteriously missing. We won't point any fingers. Sometimes the teachers get blamed. Sometimes the students get blamed about, where do the power bricks go? Confusing cable management can also cause that student to tug and stretch a cable that's not really intended for their device, but someone else already grabbed theirs. So they're tugging it around to actually try to fit their device, which ultimately causes cord damage and the need to replace those. So also, packing in more than 20 devices behind those closed steel doors of a large cart does provide a habitat for a lot of heat. So it can also cause that risk for a circuit overload. So if you're doing more than 20 laptops on a single circuit, chances are the cart is going to need to have some kind of like an intelligent cycle fix, which ultimately can lead to be an even bigger hassle depending on how it's designed. So I've heard a lot of folks actually complain about the smart charging method when there's just, too many settings there. And then this really boils down for the administrators, time and money when it comes to, the traditional charging cart. It's a lot of time spent wiring, a lot of time fixing those broken devices. And, time equals money. So I think we've all got the point about the headaches of carts. So let's go ahead and talk about how, of course, PowerGistics solves those issues. So here we can see we're very versatile. We come in different shelf sizes and with different mounting options. All are wall mountable, but these are different components. They're extras, so to speak, if you need that flexibility. This image is really meant to just show off how it's designed to be student managed, and it's very simple and intuitive so that that's possible. We include some power cables if you like our USB tower series, and this one just really highlights that pinch point cable management system. That's one of the highlights of why our towers can be so awesome. And another one about the USB, this is just showing the rear of the spine where the cables live. And this is, of course, our USB tower series. So I'm going to real quickly just do a little tour. Let's make sure the sound is off here. It's kind of like an overview highlights. Obviously, it saves a lot of space in a classroom. The open door means that teachers can inventory those devices from across the room visually. I touched on this piece here showing that they're transformable. All are wall mounted by default, but if you need them to have this flexibility, it's there for you. And maintenance-free cable management, if it works for the students, it's going to make IT's life a lot easier too. And of course, the teacher's life too. Deploying by colored shelves, yes. Smaller groups. So this in the rear, we have an optional door that can be removed. And this is just showing the USB power strip. And we do include a power cord here that leads to the wall as well. All right, so that is our quick little overview of the tower. And let's kind of dive into that 100% student managed solution. So, I've touched on all these already, and I don't want to be too repetitive, but any cart is kind of supposed to be student managed, at least that's the hope. But for it to be successfully student managed, it really, really needs to work for the students. It needs to be very seamless, very easy to use. And nowadays with, even pre-K and K, 1, 2, 3, the littles are going 1-to-1 too often. And having a solution that really works for them too is just going to be marvelous for the teachers. So yes, the open door concept we've touched on, but it's good for IT as well. Just being able to see those devices, not having them be locked away. And this actually works well with the philosophy of teaching too, having them be accessible as part of the environment of the classroom instead of locked away. Now I say that, and even though there's an open door here, it is still locked. I mean, you can still, it's locked, but you can definitely still see the devices. Cable management, no matter what, those students are there's just enough cord to reach their device. So it's pretty self-explanatory. I've mentioned student proof already here. So the way that we wire each individual cable to each shelf is why we call it student proof. Like no student is going to accidentally like get the wrong plug. And they're not going to be able to, even if they tried to unwire this is locked up securely in the back. So it's not going to go anywhere. So of course, other than saving a headache, why else does this matter? Well, I mean, time adds up. You know, you talk about 5, 10, 15 minutes a day of some extra time that like interrupts the flow of the class. Well, when you add it all up, we've done the math and teachers save 55 hours per classroom per year on average, which is pretty significant. So because we're in the middle of a pandemic, we always like to talk about, how this actually applies in the classroom, of course. Reducing the spread of classroom germs, this is not something that we really thought about when it got designed, but because they're individual shelves, it's a single touch deployment. You know, there's not a whole bunch of kids going ahead and touching other folks' devices. This is, it's no matter whether it's COVID or flu season, not cross-contaminating, being able to have this extra knowledge and reassurance is always going to be helpful. So the no traffic jams with split deployment. So we often will, this picture shows it a little bit. We have some other better videos actually that I could share if you're interested, but having 2 towers in opposite sides of the classroom, if you do have a larger class size, that's a way to encourage social distancing and just speed up that deployment time. And of course, it's really getting rid of those traffic jams. You can deploy by the colored shelves too, right? So red, blue, yellow, green. That just makes the whole process of grabbing a device like much, much simpler. We do also offer an optional cleaning caddy that just hooks to the side of the tower. This is meant to be just dedicated to wipe down your devices. And we've recently added an antimicrobial powder coat option. So this is an additive to the paint using silver ion technology, and it can help kill or actually destroy the cell wall and microorganisms like viruses, bacteria, and fungi. So that's just one extra layer of protection for the classroom. So I'm going to pause right now. I know I often will, kind of just keep talking. So if anybody does have any questions, I'll just remind, go ahead and put those in the public chat, the private chat, the Q&A, and I will address them. And I do have one question already here about converting existing original towers from the power AC adapters to direct USB Type-C cables. Okay, yes, thank you, Michael. This is a great question. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit to explain to anyone else that doesn't quite know yet. So the USB towers, this wall-mounted power strip, the short answer is we're very close to being able to determine if we can offer a retrofit kit. It is probably the most frequently asked question. The USB power strips were and the whole tower series, these were released in February. And because of the pandemic, especially too, with all of the hybrid learning, it's become a really popular option. So I won't go into all of the details, but it's looking a lot better now that we would be able to offer some kind of an upgrade kit. I imagine that I'll know like certainly about that probably within like a couple of weeks. So I guess stay tuned, or I can definitely reach out to you, Michael, like later when I do know the specifics for sure, because we definitely understand how much of a time saver that is definitely. So, yeah, thanks for that question. So let's see, returning that time. The student managed nature gives back minutes every day. We do have an audit tool if you are interested or curious to kind of calculate what time you might save. And of course, how much, that equals in dollars. Fully charged. Never again. Oh, Sally forgot to charge her laptop and it kind of disrupts the whole order of the class that day. The rewiring piece, saving time without having to rewire regularly. And this is it's talked about a little bit less, but like the fact that we have horizontal shelves, like students are much less likely to drop if they're putting a device back, like with two hands. We all know this. And it being placed horizontally rather than vertically, people tend to hold a device with only one hand if they're doing it vertically. So it ultimately does lead to fewer drop devices over time. So, and I'm going to kind of brush over this one too, but ultimately time equals money. So any repair and replacement, that's going to cost money. Teachers' time costs money, So overall, if you look down the road, it really will help save. I'll point this out here too. So this is a feature. Our towers are actually made out of aircraft grade aluminum, which acts as a heat sink. So that like draws the heat away from your device, which ultimately will help extend the longevity of the device. And the added bonus is that they're really lightweight too. So they're durable, quality, and lightweight. I think our heaviest tower is probably just around 50 pounds. So even I can wall mount it, which is pretty great. Back when there were trade shows. So yeah, and it's more eco-friendly to use aluminum over steel. So we've definitely touched on this, but like I'll go into it a little bit more here. So the USB series, it's available in our 8, 12, 16, and 20 option. They can go up to devices that are 14.8 inches, and they're really designed for Chromebooks that use 45 watts an hour, which is probably about 95% as far as we're aware of the Chromebooks that are out there. It can potentially even accommodate some of the lighter weight laptops out there. I think maybe HP Stream might be one, but don't hold me to that. So yeah, any devices that use 45 watts an hour, our towers will get them from 0 to 100% battery in approximately 4 to 6 hours, actually. So I think our standard towers take probably about 2 to 3, depending. So we include these USB-C cables. Also, if you do use iPads on request, we could also provide Apple compatible cables too. So of course, this is going to be a time savings and cost savings. Chargers cost $25, $33 per. We know they're not covered under warranty. They go missing all the time. Something like with our towers, you wire ours up with the cables included, and then you have those power bricks that come with the devices to send home with students, or to hang on to for whatever projects you may need. So, and of course, this $25 to $33 per device does add up. Racine Unified over here in Wisconsin spent $198,000 in May, about just on a second set of Chromebook chargers to have on hand. So, yeah, so this flexibility has definitely been a big reason why this has been the most popular tower series this year. So again, I'm going to just like pause and see if anybody else does have any questions. I'm not seeing anybody quite yet, but yes, feel free to jump in anytime. So these are just a couple of features that sometimes I miss. Collaborating by color, I did touch on that. Colorfully designed for joy and function. And I'm not kidding. I did actually have somebody a couple of weeks ago at Brain Nation Schools tell me that our towers bring them joy, and it made me really happy. Because it does. I mean, they solve problems, but he said that the kids also love them too. So it becomes, a positive force in the classroom rather than the negative force. School spirit with colors, custom colors. So here's just a few, but because we're made in Wisconsin, uh, we're manufactured here, we have a lot of flexibility. So if you want to show off your custom colors, that's definitely an option. So some schools they love that. Other schools, they like the primary color scheme. So yes, this is one that I often forget to mention. So the front of the door is locked with a key, and it's meant for the teacher to keep. Each school district's purchase, they are key to like. So if one teacher loses or misplaces or forgets their key, they can use their neighbor's key. But if you have a roller or a just to stand attachment in the rear of the tower, that's going to be keyed separately. So IT staff hangs on to those keys. So those power bricks are not going to go anywhere. They're going to be right where you left them. That's, I think, always like a yes. I get that a lot. Also, I guess the other reason why I have this here is you actually only need the key to unlock the tower. This is a vertical 90-degree turn will actually lock the tower. So, and then all of our towers are free shipping within the contiguous US. So for almost all of our towers, they're UPS shippable. So we do have a demo program. I don't have a slide on that, but definitely, let me know if you're interested in a 50% off demo. We can get that shipped out to you. We would definitely cover the shipping, and it can just show up at a school without any kind of loading dock or heavy equipment to move it from here to there. So that makes it a little simpler. So here's just like a little bit deeper of a dive into the options and like what the different towers are. So this is a good image that just kind of, again, I've repeated myself here, but all of them can be wall mounted. They are secured to the wall with just these little anchor points. And that means that it can be like you put those screws in the wall and then they can lift off if necessary to access. But if you need the just a stand or a rolling stand, our rollers, there's like a frame that this just then sits into really easily. So that's kind of how they're transformable. These come in 8, 12, 16, and 20 shelf options. Of course, with smaller class sizes nowadays with COVID, there's a lot more interest in how just versatile our towers are. But like I've mentioned, it's very rare to have a class size of 40 students. But what we often see, like for like a class of 32 students, 2 of our Tower 16s would reach 32 students. You put them on separate sides of the classroom, and it just makes the whole process of deploying and returning and retrieving your devices every day just a breeze. So our original tower series, this is like you might see like a Tower 8, Tower 12, Tower 16, Tower 20. These are what I'm calling our classics. They fit up to 12 inches wide for tablets, Chromebooks, and laptops. And this size is only available with our classic power supply. And this is one where we like to mention to folks that you really only want to go with this size if you're not planning in the next 5-10 years to upgrade to a larger device. We have had schools have our towers at this size for several years, and then they upgrade, and then there's they have to figure out how to repurpose. So just letting you know about that piece. And then here's just, letting you know how the power bricks get wired into the spine. We include the zip ties, and there's, I don't know if you can see here, but there's like little shelves that like help you keep it organized. And then the side of the spine has these like little holes that then let you go ahead and get that zip tie wired into. So, um, I do mention here that the roller is compatible with any of them except for the largest one. The Tower 20 is just a little bit too tall for us to for there to be a safety issue. So there's not a roller available yet for the Tower 20. And I'm just hinting that our engineering team is working on something to try to solve that. So I do see that there may be a Q&A here. Do you think PowerGistics might ever move into client device check-in, check-out types? Locker-like, as I get asked for those in and outside of education. Thanks, Jack. That's a great question. I think that our engineering team has often paused on pursuing a solution like that because we haven't had a whole lot of folks ask for it. It's come up from time to time at conferences or trade shows. In education, it's kind of rare for us to get asked about that. But our team is so open to feedback that if you wanted, we could definitely set up like a chat and visit and see you know kind of what's out there, because if that's something that people need and they need it. I know there's a couple options available out there, but it's like the price point is pretty high for like those individually locking ones. That would be definitely a conversation. Jack. Okay, yes, with COVID, the ask has come up a lot. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I can see that. Having that ability to just stay away. So yeah, definitely, I'd love to follow up about that question and see what our engineering team thinks. So Tower Plus, let's see. So the main thing here is that it also accommodates devices up to 14.8 inches. Here's the thing though, it's only 2.5 inches deeper and 1 inch wider than the classics. So it's not that much bigger at all. USB Tower series, we've definitely touched on this already. This is only available in the plus size, the 14.8 inches, because we just want to prepare for those folks to be, future ready. And these don't come up a ton, but we do have desktop series. This one down here, the Cell Tower 10, we often like to call this one the cell phone jail. It's, much smaller, thinner, and really meant for those cell phone sizes. So this might be the only place on here that I actually have prices listed. I just want to, mention we are 100% channel. So we, as a manufacturing company, we do not sell directly to schools, and we do work with our authorized reseller channel. So myself or Alex, he's our channel manager, so he works with all of our reseller partners. So if we're either one of us is absolutely happy to get in touch with someone on your behalf to get you a custom quote, and quantity and education discounts are available through the channel as well. So let me go ahead and zoom out here. School stories. I won't go into a ton of depth about this, but honestly, our towers are in thousands of schools across the country, and in the UK and Canada, and we are launching in Belgium too. So it's kind of exciting. Our solution really is unique, and always happy to put you in touch with a school reference too, because folks that use us are often super happy to share their experiences. So since we're in Wisconsin, we've got, quite a list of Wisconsin schools that use us. Avon Grove here. I actually don't think I'll show this video because I'm not sure that the sound will work, but Avon Grove in Pennsylvania was kind enough to do, a quick little 1-minute video explaining how they use our towers and why they like us. And we also did a full-on case study with them too. So there's actually more case studies on our website as well if you want to check any of those out. And just kind of a heads up about, these are just a few of the schools that have more than 100 towers across the US. We don't necessarily even know how many, since sometimes when they go through the channel, we don't always at the end of the day find out, but definitely a lot of schools that we could put you in touch with. And we're made in Wisconsin. We have to talk about this just a little bit. It is really fairly unique for, a charging cart, or like we say, the alternative to the charging cart, for it to be made in the USA. Our manufacturing facility, I mentioned it earlier, our parent company, they've actually been working in Wisconsin, Columbus, Wisconsin, here for 150 years. 5th generation, so 1870. I think, great-great-grandfather of our current owner started up a blacksmith shop. And we've been growing a lot. So from 10 employees to 70 in about a decade. So providing lots of jobs for families here locally. And honestly, we do have some cool videos if you guys like big machinery, and I could definitely share those too. It's a lot of fun. In fact, you can't see it. I have some towers behind me, but the manufacturing facility, the door to it is about 30 feet away from me, which it's pretty cool to get to see them get made. And this lets us offer a lifetime warranty. We really do stand behind our towers. So, anything and always, reach out about any questions with that. And then, yeah, it is more eco-friendly for us to actually get these to you guys than for, other overseas manufacturing options. So the other piece that lets us really stand out for being in Wisconsin, speed of delivery within 2 weeks. Now, this can change throughout the year. Right now, I think we are actually on a 2 to 3-week lead time, but we really do have a lot of flexibility. Custom colors can take a little bit longer, but if you have a deadline, you need something, we can make it happen. Also, I point this out, custom colors, or not just custom colors, but custom options. So this image here just shows the little headphone hook. Someone asked us if we had a solution for them on that, and we're like, nope, but we can make something for you. So just that customization option for you. So last piece here that I'll just touch on briefly. I know lots of schools have probably already used their CARES Act money, but we have had a couple of folks lately even asking for this still. So just want to point out that this right here does have a like the very specific language about, from the CARES Act, where we might fit in. So, and I'm going to zoom over here. With quotes, section 2, 3, 9, section 12, we would fit into any of those categories. And this here too is another just kind of brief overview about how schools use PowerGistics. There's not really one way, of course, to need our towers. Often, probably the most, is they live in the classroom as either the part-time or full-time charging home. But sometimes they live in, common spaces. Sometimes they're considered an emergency charging solution. Libraries is another one that we get a lot about. Loaner programs, and with the rollers, towers with rollers are often treated like, moving from classroom to classroom. And, we mentioned this here too, that towers with rollers can also be repurposed to help support IT staff as they stage devices for repairs when students return. Because, well, we'll see how it all plays out. But we've heard IT staff saying that, the repair rate and the damages that are happening from these devices at home, since everything's happening at home, it's pretty significant. And honestly, not even kidding you, just yesterday, my cat broke my laptop. It sounds ridiculous, but I had it like on like the shelf right next to my desk, and my cat jumped up and crashed it to the ground. And it's like the new excuse: my dog ate my homework, my cat killed my laptop. So that's the world we live in now, and I have a little bit more empathy, I think, for the students that something like that happens to. But of course, I have empathy for the IT folks too, when it comes to having to repair all of that. So so that, that actually covers it here. I'd love to open up the floor for any questions. I honestly could probably talk about our towers all day, and I try to keep it simple. So, if anybody does have any questions, feel free. I'm going to go ahead and let's see here. Type into the chat my contact information too, in case you guys think of anything later. And if you got the invite to this, you probably have something from me as well. All right, Howard. Yes, I can send you something about pricing for sure. So I will definitely follow up with you about that. I can send out MSRP plus how it would work through the channel. All right. Well, if you don't have that many questions, I hope that means that I covered everything. So yes, please feel free to reach out anytime. I'm always happy to help. And, I hope you guys have a lovely rest of your day and rest of your week. And hopefully we'll connect again soon. So thanks so much.